My name is Rachel Maldonado, and my website is rhmaldonado.com. And it is my belief in the human spirit and desire to connect that I want to tell your story and mine. And I am with Chris Atoki, who has this amazing story.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm glad that I can tell it and inspire whoever I can inspire.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Chris, you went from being homeless to owning a house in 4 years. It's incredible. Tell me about this.
Yeah, I was at a point where I was going to school and working full time. I was working hard, and eventually it just got, everything got taken from me. I had a nice stable housing situation that got taken away from me. I was told that I had 2 minutes to get all of my stuff and leave. And just before that happened, I had just lost my job. So because I lost my job, I didn't have a place to stay. I eventually had to uh, drop out of college. I couldn't afford it anymore. And that's where I found myself just homeless and stuck.
Wow. So you had the double whammy of you no longer have your employment. You are kicked out of your house. You no longer have a home. And then you cannot pay for school. So everything stable in your life gets taken away in an instant.
Exactly. And it just I was just depressed. I was floored, but just like you said, everything got taken away from me in an instant.
Wow. And so, how are you living? I know you were homeless.
Mhm. So what I was doing, I had a old 1995 Ford Thunderbird that barely turned on half the time. I got
Mm,
kicked out when it was cold and everything. Um, and I was living out of my car, eating food from the Dollar Tree because that's all I could afford. And that was just going on for I guess a while.
yeah, yeah. So, when you're in your car, was there ever a moment that felt even worse than all the other moments? Just to sort of
Definitely.
rock bottom?
Definitely, there's a moment, a day specifically that I remember vividly. I don't remember the day, but I remember it was one night. It was super cold. I was in front of a Walmart. I had less than $1 in my account. I think it was like 83 cents or something. And I just thought, honestly, I wanted to die at that point. I thought there was nothing else to live for. And there was just that point where I decided I'm not going to die. I have to start living for myself and start, going up in life.
Yeah, wow. So it just hit you in that moment, and then what action did you take?
So, yeah, what I did was like I said, I decided to start living for myself. And what I did was, I think it was the day after or the day after that, I went to the library and, I applied for almost 2,000 jobs just to get anything because I, I wanted to make at least one goal for myself to start living for myself. And that was just to get a job. It could have been
Mm,
minimum wage, it could have been under minimum wage. And eventually, after applying for 2,000 jobs, I got a few jobs like working as a meat packer and working on a pickle farm, making minimum wage. So that was my first goal where I first started to do better than where I was.
yeah. And what was minimum wage then? And you're young, right?
Yeah, definitely. Minimum wage at that time in New Jersey was a little over $8. It was like around $8 or
Yeah.
something. And for the pickle farm, I was actually making less than minimum wage, but I'm not
Yeah.
supposed to say that.
Right. And you're just a kid too.
Yeah, 24 years old. At that time I was about 20 years old, so
Yeah.
I I I was inexperienced. That's all I can say.
Right. You're young, you have no guidance, you're living in your car, and that's hard. How do you make it work? You eat the cheap food from the Dollar Tree, and then what else do you do with this kind of living situation with your car?
Yeah, all I could do was just really survive. I mean, that's what it was at that point. And then not just being satisfied with the few jobs that I got, I just had to keep getting new jobs, keep trying to push myself higher and higher in the industry. And, eventually I got a job at Mattress Firm, which I thought was the best job in the world because I was finally making 30K. And that's when I started saying, I don't want this. I don't want to just be settled. And that's when I started to go to school. I wanted to go back to school for engineering, and I looked for an online school, found it, and started while I was working at Mattress Firm, I was going to school online.
Wow. So you're making these changes in your life and you apply to school and you're doing school, but at this time, you're still living out of your car. So how are you making that work with your car? Like, you know, where do you go to relax or, anything?
So the good thing I'll say about working at a mattress store is if you needed to sleep, there were 30 beds that you can pick. I didn't have Wi-Fi in the store or anything, so I had to use my phone as a hotspot. And I bought the crappiest MacBook that I can find that would at least turn on so I could go to school. And that's what I did. Even after the customers left, I would still be in the store just working and all that. I was still living in my car, just like you said. And sometimes I didn't want to sleep in my car, so I would sleep in the mattress store.
Yeah, yeah. And then, are you still at the Dollar Tree and any place to your clothes or go anywhere?
Yeah, no, at that point, well, for a little bit, I was still, sleeping in my car and shopping at the Dollar Tree. But once I was working at Mattress Firm, I was making a little bit more money, so I actually was able to afford to buy a room in somebody's apartment. So that was my first apartment for myself.
Yeah, wow. And before that, um, to shower or anything, you didn't even have things like that.
No, nothing like that, except going to the gym.
Yeah.
I actually worked near a gym that actually was beneficial to me, but it was $30 and I could at least afford that. So, I went to the gym there. I went to the gym and I would take a shower, and that would be my means of keeping myself clean.
Wow, incredible. So then you have these incremental goals. You get a job. Then you get the job at the mattress firm, which is, that's a good job. And then you go to school and you're using the Wi-Fi hotspots and showering at the gym. You're doing all these things. And how did you keep your spirits up? You're progressing, you're meeting these goals.
Mhm.
But how did you do that?
Well, it's just one of the things is during that time, a little bit after I started school and I was doing a little bit better, I got that room and everything in that guy's apartment. My son was born, and that's one of the things that just pushed me to keep working because I was a father at that point. I actually had somebody who was going to spend their life, looking up to me. And
Yeah.
that just kept me pushing. There were hard days. I still kept pushing through those days because of him.
Wow. Wow. And then you keep doing these other goals. What was your next goal?
So my next goal was first to finish my online school to get my software engineering education, and then right after that it was get a job in tech. And right after I
Wow.
graduated, I said within a month I want to have a job in tech. So the same thing that I did, like I applied for 2,000 jobs when I didn't have a job. I did almost the same thing to get my first job in tech, and I finally did.
Wow. And how did that feel to get a job in tech?
I mean, it was amazing. The first time, actually, my first job, I was being paid $65,000. That I doubled my income that I was just making, a month ago, and I was in the field that I wanted to be. I was, I was so excited because I had one never seen that much money, and two, I was never happy working at any job that I was at. I just did it because it was money. But I'm actually at a job where I love what I do, and I'm actually making enough to where I can buy my own apartment, pay my bills and save money for the first time.
Wow. And so then tell me, this is such a rapid progression. It truly is. I'm sure at the time it felt so long, but it's amazing. You went from being homeless to owning a home.
Mhm.
And how did that happen?
Yeah, so as I'm progressing through my career, getting better jobs, working on different teams, getting experience, I'm still thinking about my son in the back of my mind. And, I think from this point, it was about 2 months ago where I just told myself, I want to be able to have a stable place where my
Mm.
son can grow up, where he can invite friends over, he can run around in like a backyard, and play and have a big house that he can have fun and make memories in. And, that was the thing that got me to push myself to get this house.
Wow. So 2 months ago, you bought a house. Wow, that is incredible. And people who hear your story and they are inspired because we all have hard times. What would you say? What is one of the things that you say to encourage them?
I would always say one, make small goals, make goals that can that are easily attainable, because as you're making goals you get that momentum of just
Yeah.
crushing one goal and then crushing another one. That's one of the biggest things that I always tell you.
Yeah, I love it. And I do have one last question for you. Chris, what makes you feel alive?
I would say exactly just the advice that I gave you. I use it every single day, and it's just making small goals and achieving those goals. It makes me feel good whenever I can set my mind or set up for myself to do something and get that done. And then when I do it, I feel like I feel happy. I feel accomplished.
Wow. Well, Chris, you are very accomplished. I think that your story is inspiring. Just that you do it for your son, you do it for yourself, and you went from being homeless to owning a home in 4 years. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Chris, for telling your story.
Thank you for having me.